Stefanski always carried an air of safety, the steady coach, the offense whisperer, the one who knew how to protect talent and manage pressure. But right now, that image is shattered. According to insiders, Haslam's decision wasn't born out of one bad game or a harsh loss. It was built over weeks of simmering frustration, jealousy, and questions about who truly controls the narrative in Cleveland. See, Shedeur Sanders isn't just another rookie. He's a brand. He's attention. He's a storyline that sells tickets and gets national eyeballs. And in a league where off-field value is as real as on-field production, that kind of star power counts. There are whispers that Stefanski never wanted Shedeur in the first place, that he saw too many risks, too many flash, too much potential distraction. And now, with Shedeur trending, infecting headlines, and drawing public adoration, Haslam might have lost faith in a coach who couldn't or wouldn't embrace his own rookie. Let's set the stage. The Browns are in free fall. The offense has looked lifeless. Jerry Jeudy's invisible. Dylan Gabriel is checking down like he's playing it safe. Meanwhile, the backup QB, not even on the field, goes viral for giving away a car, showing up in the community, making people believe. That contrast is dangerous. It embarrasses the coach, it divides the locker room, and it positions a new narrative. The player who could lead the franchise might already be leading the hearts of Cleveland. So why fire Stefanski now? Because this is no longer just about wins or losses. It's about control. It's about who gets to be the face of the organization. It's about an owner who looks at his future, looking at his new stadium, ticket sales, buzz, and sees Shedeur as the kind of energy that sells seasons. And if your head coach can't or won't harness that energy, Kevin Stefanski's downfall didn't happen overnight. It's been building like a slow earthquake under Cleveland's feet. Every week, another crack appeared. An anemic offense here, a sideline meltdown there, and then the one thing he couldn't afford, a rookie quarterback outshining him without even playing. Inside the building, sources say that tension got uncomfortable. Reporters kept asking about Shedeur Sanders. Fans kept chanting his name online. And every time Stefanski faced a microphone, he looked more defensive, more robotic. He said all the right words. Process, execution, we'll fix it. But you could feel it. The man had lost the room. Players still respected him, but they didn't believe anymore. They were waiting for something to change. A spark, a voice, anything that made them feel alive again. Every time Shedeur Sanders walked into the room, eyes followed. He wasn't loud, he wasn't cocky, he just carried presence. He'd shake hands with the equipment guys, dap up linemen, talk to receivers about timing, even though he wasn't getting first-team reps. That quiet confidence made people believe, and that's where the jealousy crept in. Stefanski, who built his reputation on structure and control, suddenly had a rookie commanding attention he couldn't manage. Reporters asked more questions about the backup than the starter. Social media was filled with clips of Shedeur signing jerseys, interacting with fans, handing out keys to a car. The coach, once the calm face of the franchise, was now background noise. Sources say that in one midweek meeting, Stefanski snapped. He reportedly told his staff, "We're here to play football, not build brands." It was a direct shot at Shedeur, and everyone knew it. But the damage was done. The locker room was already split. Half the team wanted to follow the rookie's energy. The other half was too scared to say it out loud. When that kind of divide reaches the field, the results show fast. Missed routes, confused signals, an offense that looks like it's playing in slow motion. And while Stefanski kept pushing his playbook, Haslam kept seeing headlines about his coach losing the room. The more Shedeur shined off the field, the smaller Stefanski looked on it. That's when jealousy stopped being a rumor and started being a reason. A coach fighting to protect his image. An owner era, and a rookie whose very existence made both men uncomfortable. The tension had reached the breaking point. When the news broke, it hit like a bomb. One moment, the Browns were in meetings preparing for Miami. The next, phones were lighting up across the building. Stefanski's out. No official press release, no goodbye speech, just whispers turning into confirmation. Jimmy Haslam had made the call himself. The locker room went silent. Players stared at each other in disbelief. Some were angry, others relieved. But the truth, most of them saw it coming. You can't have that much smoke without fire. For weeks, they'd felt the tension building. The coach isolating himself, the owner visiting practice more often, the front office holding private meetings with team leaders. Everyone could feel the axe hanging over their heads. The moment Haslam's message hit, chaos followed. Position coaches scrambled to figure out who was running Sunday's walkthrough. The coordinators were told to stay professional. PR staff tried to get ahead of the media wave, but it was already too late. Reporters flooded social media, fans flooded comment sections, and within hours, national outlets were running the headline, "Browns fire Kevin Stefanski. Shedeur era begins." Inside the building, Shedeur Sanders stayed quiet. Players later said he was the calmest man in the room. No celebration, no reaction, just that same focused expression he'd had since the start. But privately, teammates said they could see it in his eyes. He knew the weight of what came next. For Haslam, the move wasn't about panic. It was about timing. Fire the coach before the Dolphins game, and you send a message. This is a new chapter, now. The optics were ruthless, but effective. Suddenly, the conversation shifted from losing streaks to leadership changes. From despair to curiosity. And in the middle of it all stood a rookie quarterback. The one who didn't just survive the chaos, but somehow defined it. Cleveland was no longer talking about a broken offense. They were talking about a future. One that might start a lot sooner than anyone expected. The morning after the firing, Cleveland woke up to pure chaos. Talk radio was on fire. National analysts were circling like vultures, and every sports headline screamed the same thing. Haslam fires Stefanski, Shedeur takes over. The city was buzzing, confused, angry, hopeful, all at once. Outside the Browns facility, fans gathered with handmade signs, some reading, "Let Shedeur cook," others demanding answers. But for the first time in a long time, there was energy in the air. Not dread, not disappointment, energy. Inside the locker room, the shift was immediate. The atmosphere that once felt heavy now felt open, like the team had been holding its breath for weeks and finally exhaled. Haslam met briefly with team leaders, emphasizing a new direction and building for the future. Nobody said Shedeur's name, but everyone knew. It was written between the lines, echoed in the glances players exchanged when he walked in. That day, Shedeur arrived early. No cameras, no entourage, just headphones on, playbook in hand. Reporters outside tried to get a quote, but he didn't bite. Just focused on football, he said softly. But behind that quiet answer was something bigger. The beginning of a story even he couldn't have scripted. By noon, ESPN was running side-by-side footage. Stefanski leaving the facility, head down and silent. And Shedeur stepping onto the practice field, helmet in hand. Sunlight catching the logo on his chest. Symbolism writes itself in moments like that. One man's ending becoming another's rise. And while critics debated whether the move was fair, Haslam was already thinking ahead. The stadium project, the rebrand, the future face of the franchise. The business side saw gold. The football side saw risk. But the fans, they saw hope. The Browns had burned everything down, again. But this time, it didn't feel like a rebuild. It felt like a rebirth. because love him or hate him, Shedeur Sanders had just become the heartbeat of Cleveland. And as one chapter closed in silence, another began. Louder, bolder, unstoppable. Absolute chaos in Cleveland. Sources are screaming that Browns owner Jimmy Haslam has officially fired Kevin Stefanski. And not because of losses or play calling. The rumor is jealousy, centered on Shedeur Sanders. Just days before their matchup with Miami, the franchise's head coach might already be out the door. Locker room tension is at a breaking point. Media pressure is suffocating the organization. And now, the question on everyone's mind, is this the beginning of the end for Stefanski's era in Cleveland? If this turns out to be true, this isn't just a coaching change. It's a full-on coup. Stick around, because part 1 is where we pull back the curtain on why Haslam might have pulled the trigger, and why this goes way deeper than football.